Resident Evil: The Final Chapter is written and directed by Paul W.S. Anderson and it stars Mila Jovovich as Alice, classified as a science fiction action horror movie. We start the movie off where Alice wakes up in the middle of Washington, D.C.'s ruins, which basically at the end of Resident Evil Extinction, there was a battle ensuing, but the movie just faded to black and went to credits. We never got to see what happened. And in the beginning of this movie, we still never get to see what happened. A bunch of characters went missing. Alice wakes up to find herself talking to the Red Queen once again. And the Red Queen is actually on her side in this movie. Yeah, just take a second to soak that in, because in Resident Evil Extinction, the Red Queen was against her. And Albert Wesker was, helping her out in Extinction. And he is her enemy in Final Chapter. So it's kind of hard for me to draw full thoughts for this movie, because it's the number one offender with having continuity issues and not pretty much not respecting the movies before it. It just pretty much forgets them. So it gives us a character in one movie and then takes it away in the other. But that all aside, let's just go through the track of the movie. So she talks to the Red Queen, and the Red Queen tells her that she has a chance to save the world. And at this point you're thinking, what world? It seems like almost everybody on the planet is a zombie, and there's probably a good 1% of the planet still human. But in this case, it gives us something to get behind Alice for. So her path is basically a straight line. She just has to go back to where everything started, which that's one thing I like about this movie. It kind of redeems that old saying that I like to follow: everything ends where it begins. And most movies like to do that, and kind of real life does that too, but in a weird, creepy kind of way. She's going through the movie, and of course Ian Glenn is in this movie as Dr. Alexander Isaacs, and you're saying to yourself, wait a minute, didn't she kill Isaacs in Resident Evil Extinction? Bear with me. So as she continues through the movie, you get the sense that the solo-ness of her character, even though she runs into a little bit of characters that they all bond together to fight against a common cause, you still feel that the camaraderie isn't there, because these characters weren't even developed. It gets a little choppy that way, because none of I'm pretty sure the actors who signed up to do this movie didn't get the sense that they were gonna have one or two or three lines, or probably one page of lines to read off of, and probably half of it through cutting didn't make it into the movie. So yeah, you get that sense. But I can appreciate the palette and the camera filter. It kind of made it look like an old Western, kind of taking it back to Resident Evil Extinction, giving it that brownish look. But in this case, the cameras are more advanced. It looked more clear. There was a lot of shaky cam, but some people can follow it, some people can. But the cutting, at least I can give a little bit of redeeming quality to the shaky cam. But the cutting, I gotta say, I agree with almost everybody when they say that it kind of gives you a headache if you're not ready for it. If you're probably half asleep or something and you're trying to watch this movie, you can give yourself literally a headache trying to follow all the cuts. The cuts are so short. It was chopped together very, very poorly. There is still a couple of people that like this movie, obviously, because out of a $40 million budget, this movie made $312 million. So obviously it made his money back and more. That's the thing with Paul W.S. Anderson with all these Resident Evil movies. They make money. They make money, so they make more. So I don't know if that's a problem or something good, or something good for them, a problem for us, or a mixed bag. But that's how this goes, and I'm surprised they didn't want to make another one after this one, because it made pretty good bank. The action is great when you can follow it. The monsters in the movie are good if you can see them. If you have the chance to keep rewinding and looking at the part over and over and over again. Some of the CGI is a little bit unbearable. Not too much unbearable, it's subpar. Some of it is pretty good, but you can tell that they put a little bit of time into this movie, even though it was cut down, it was chopped down to shit. So, you can still give it a chance on that level. Its scary factor pretty much went out the window. All it relies on is jump scares for that, but even then they give the movie they give that part to a small percentage of the movie while keeping the majority of the movie, more action than anything else. More action, and you can't say a thriller, or you can't say a mystery, because there really is no mystery to it. It's just the A to B movie. It's one of those movies that you can really shut your brain off to and just say, okay, hey, let me just enjoy something that's extremely clear, Has a lot of explosions, has a lot of, probably motorcycle chase and stuff like that. Fight with monsters. There's not really much I can say that can redeem all these sections of the movies that I'm talking about, of the movie that I'm talking about, but it'll help in some form. Now, fanboy grade for Resident Evil: The Final Chapter. This will probably be a shocker. Fanboy grade, A-. A- because I do enjoy these movies. I have since the first one. There's some I like less than others, but I'm not gonna tell you until I review all the Resident Evils. I will tell you which one's my least favorite and which one I like the most. So I won't give you guys that information now. But yeah, it keeps a fast pace. It doesn't slow down. It's one of those movies, like I said, you could shut your brain off to. You could just sit back and watch. Let it run in the background. Enjoy how beautiful Mila Jovovich is at times. Appreciate the fact that it's a leading lady, a leading female who mostly does all her own stunts. The monsters were good. I enjoyed the monsters. I liked the way it went, except for one character in the movie, which they could have done more for that person. But I give it an A- for fanboy. Now for justice grade, I give it D-. D-. Well, I'll explain why it wasn't like the worst grade I could ever give it. Then I'll explain why it's a D-. This movie does not work at all formula-wise. It would not win an award. It's something that was just chopped together by, it seemed like, somebody who's never done movies before. So I don't know what Paul W.S. Anderson was thinking when he hired the editor from the movie Gamer. Now, if you've seen the movie Gamer, you see how fastly chopped those scenes are. I mean, this is like a Michael Bay movie on steroids when it comes to the edits and the cuts. It has a lot of continuity issues. It just forgets about the movies before it. It forgets about all the characters that it had before. It just treats the audience like if they were stupid in terms of, if you follow this movie not as a fanboy, obviously you're going to feel disrespected because it just says, hey, these people are probably not going to remember all this stuff. They're just here for the action and the graphics and all that. That is pretty insulting. But like I said, I am a fan of the movies. Now that I think about it, I might go back and put the fanboy down to B+. But hey, I wanted to show you guys the difference between my fanboy grades and my justice grades, and this is a perfect example to start. And well, there you go. So that's my review on Resident Evil: The Final Chapter. Hope you guys like it. Hope you guys come back for more, and as always, stay enthusiastic.